This is part 1 of my analysis of the short story Sharmaji by the American Indian writer Anjana Appachana. It was published in her debut collection of 8 short stories, Incantations and Other Stories, in 1991. It also later appeared in the 1997 anthology Mirrorwork, 50 Years of Indian Writing. The British literary magazine Wasafiri wrote of her collection that it demonstrates her ability to dramatise not only the areas of conflict between cultures, but, more importantly, those that exist within them, between different generations, sexes and social groups. Set in an office in the Indian city of Delhi during the early 1980s, the story follows a day in the life of the middle-aged Sharma, an incorrigibly lazy and opportunistic clerk in the purchase department of a manufacturing company. Sharma's arrival in the office in the morning, some 45 minutes after the official start of the day, triggers a number of confrontations which threaten his dismissal from his job. By 5 o'clock, however, having exploited his skill and cunning to turn the situation around, he is firmly ensconced back in his office. Not only has he saved himself from the sack without having lifted a finger all day, but he has also seen to it that this state of affairs will be able to continue for some time to come. The story, rather than having a plot, is a portrait of the story's main character and consists of a series of interactions between the eponymous Sharma and the various people who work at the company, such as Mahesh, a personnel department clerk, Miss Das, the personnel officer, Gupta, a fellow clerk and friend, Harish, the purchase department peon or office boy, Mr Borwankar, the purchase department manager, and Adesh, the general secretary of the workers' union. Much of the story, therefore, comprises dialogue, and Appachana's use of a third-person objective narrator as well means that we learn about the characters only through what they say and how they interact with one another, rather than through what we are told about their thoughts and feelings by the narrator. This means that we can never be sure when Sharma is telling the truth and when he is lying. Note the way Sharma switches between formal and informal registers when speaking either to his managers or to those who he feels are beneath him, which modulates the rhythm of the story and adds interest to it. And the way his and the other characters' speech is littered with words in Hindi, such as mela, chai and daba, etc., which situates the story firmly within the Indian culture. Appachana uses the way Sharma speaks to and deals with his colleagues to explore themes of authority and respect, gender relations and intergenerational conflict, power relations between managers and workers and the tension caused by the rise of workers' unions, and cultural change and the tension between tradition and modernity in an ever-changing India. The short story's title, Sharmaji, comprises Sharma's name with the addition of the suffix ji, which is an honorific that is added to a first name in India as a sign of respect, and is an indication of the eponymous Sharma's obsession throughout with the respect he feels due to him from others. The story begins abruptly with the short sentence, Sharma was late for work. We quickly find out, however, that this, rather than being due to something dramatic happening out of Sharma's control, is the usual state of affairs, as Mahesh, the personnel department clerk, shook his head disapprovingly and clicked his tongue, berating him that this is the 14th time you are late this month. Rather than be embarrassed at being called out like this, however, it appears that Sharma strongly objects to being challenged, as his brow darkened, suggesting that he has adopted a fierce expression. He turns on Mahesh and in somewhat threatening language questions his authority to rebuke him in the first place. Who are you to tell me I'm late? You are a clerk. I am a clerk. You don't have the authority to tell me anything. Understood? The manner in which Mahesh retreats behind his desk in order to place a physical barrier between the pair of them communicates early on that Sharma is an intimidating character and not one to be crossed. Note how we can tell even this early on that Sharma is a master of deflection. Rather than his being at fault for his tardiness, he manages to switch the situation around so that it is Mahesh who is now at fault for his seeming lack of respect for his elders. "You don't tell me what is good for me," Sharma said. He raised his voice. "I am 25 years older than you." We can see from what he says here that he has a very traditional way of viewing the world and believes that respect should automatically be conferred due to age rather than be earned through responsible behaviour. Not only is Sharma skilled at moving the focus of attention away from his own faults, but he is also an opportunist as he takes advantage of the growing audience of other latecomers, as well as those at work in the personnel department, to perform for them and so create a collective atmosphere of mockery and antipathy towards Mahesh. He belittles Mahesh in front of them as he compares himself with him. "I have been in this company for 25 years. At that time you were in your mother's womb," he says, snapping his fingers in front of Mahesh's face, as the others watch on, delighted and spellbound, no doubt not only because it adds a bit of excitement to an otherwise humdrum day, but also because it serves to take the heat off them if they are late as well. Mahesh is clearly uncomfortable at the way the situation has escalated and that Sharma is now very much in charge of the interaction, but his pleas for Sharma to leave me alone and to stop shouting in the personnel department because it sounds very bad only make his own weakness more obvious, which goads Sharma on further to kick him while he's down. Sharma chuckled. He raised his voice. "Shouting? I'm not shouting. I'm talking to you. Is it forbidden to talk in the personnel department? Is this an office or a school?" He smiled again at his audience. Everyone was spellbound. He said, "So, Mahesh, you now think you can tell me how to behave. Very good. What else can you teach me?" This comment leads Gupta to then make a joke that Mahesh should instead be working as a teacher, a professor at Delhi University, which makes the gathered crowd roar with laughter at poor Mahesh's expense. The merriment, however, comes to an abrupt halt as the personnel officer, Miss Das, enters and a sudden silence fell in the room. Sharma, like a chameleon, quickly changes his tone when dealing with a person who actually has the authority to see him fired, but note that he remains confident and unintimidated, even as he is lying directly to her face when she confronts him with his tardiness. Sharma looked her straight in the eyes. "Madam," he said, "what to do? My daughter has a temperature. I had to take her to the clinic, so I got a little late." Even when Miss Das challenges him over the details and over the fact that that doesn't explain the other 13 lates in the month, he doesn't turn a hair. He has an answer for everything as his excuses roll glibly off his tongue. "Did you inform your manager that you would be late?" "I don't have a phone at home, madam." "Why didn't you inform him yesterday?" "Madam, I did not know yesterday. My daughter fell ill this morning." She looked at the register. "Has your daughter been ill 14 days of the month?" Mahesh smirked. "Oh, madam," said Sharma, "that was my other daughter. You know this virus, madam. All my daughters have been falling ill, one after the other. I have 3. Note how he controls the interaction as he brings it to a close rather than her, seemingly intimating that it is she who is keeping him from his work. "Yes, madam, 3 daughters with this virus. Well, madam, I should be getting along." Note also the difference between him and Gupta. Gupta slid out of the room to avoid any scrutiny, while he, on the other hand, sauntered out in a relaxed and unhurried manner. Gupta is skulking in the corridor, waiting for Sharma to appear. He seems to be Sharma's sidekick, and they have much in common. They are both clerks who have an aversion to work. Gupta is just as lazy as Sharma, but he is much more intimidated by the management and is less cunning than Sharma. In this interaction, we see the way in which relations between men and women are played out in this culture, and the sense that the men are ambivalent about modernisation, bringing increasing numbers of women into the workplace. The conflict between tradition and modernity can be seen as Gupta clearly doesn't like being told what to do by a woman, as he sarcastically comments, "She, Miss Das, has already told me off twice. She thinks it's still Indiraji's Raj." Indiraji's Raj is a reference to the government of India's first and only female Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, who was in power from 1966 to 1977, and then again from 1980 until her assassination by her own bodyguards in 1984. We really get the sense here that Gupta feels that it was an aberration to have a woman in charge, which made the world somehow topsy-turvy, and that now there is a male Prime Minister once again, women should know their place and not speak to men in that way. The story is set at a time when women were increasingly coming out of the home and into the workplace in India. Gupta and Sharma have a view on women and marriage which is ruled by tradition and astrology. "My parents," reveals Gupta, "are searching for a girl for me. I have to get married before December. The astrologer has said that the 2 years after December will be very inauspicious for marriage." There is, however, a grudging acceptance of the modern, as Gupta's family is forced into looking for a working girl as a bride for him, because the couple wouldn't be able to live on Gupta's salary alone if his wife stayed in the home. Note the verb married off, which Gupta uses when referring to his sister, which implies that these marriages have little to do with love, at least to start with, and that a female child is a problem that has to be solved. She doesn't seem to get much choice, whereas Gupta has seen 4 girls so far, but he has been able to reject them all, it seems, because they are all dark rather than fair, which, it is implied, is a sought-after feature. Sharma, with no sense of urgency to get to work, even though he has already been reprimanded for being late, suggests that the two go to the canteen for some chai or tea. Note how Sharma, whose default mode is to feel aggrieved, likes to portray himself as a victim, as this justifies his shirking behaviour. This is revealed in the way that there is a discrepancy between how the two men are described as drinking their tea and what Sharma actually says. "It arrived steaming hot, and they drank it with satisfaction." "Terrible tea," said Sharma. "This company has no care for its employees. They are stingy even in the tea they give us. No milk or sugar. This tea is worth 10 paisa. They charge us 50 paisa. Then they say it is subsidised. Ha! Subsidised." Sharma and Gupta's lack of self-awareness is humorous for the reader, who can't believe that they have the nerve to feel hard done by. "Why should they care?" said Gupta. "They only want to make money. Profit, profit, profit. That is all they care about. We are the ones who do all the work, and they are the ones who benefit. This is life." Sharma's revelation that his wife is expecting a 4th child when they already have 3 daughters, and Gupta's response to this news that you already have 3 and the government says 1 or 2 bas are enough, give the non-Indian reader yet another window on the way family life is affected by the society in which they live. Although there is no national child policy in India limiting the number of children a couple may have, there are many local laws which apply penalties for having more than 2 children. It seems that Sharma doesn't like to be told what to do by anyone in a position of authority, especially as he sees male children as a kind of pension plan. It would appear that the decision to have a 4th child, in the hope that it is a boy, is a calculated risk. "They are all girls, Gupta. Who will look after us in our old age?" "Yes," says Gupta, "but you've already got to find 3 dowries for your daughters as it is. What if you then have to find a 4th? Money and marriage are irrevocably linked." The conversation's focus switches to Miss Das. Gupta has gossip on her. He has seen her smoking, out in public, and in the company of a man. The way he says to Sharma, "You won't believe it," and Sharma's response, "I cannot believe it," indicate that the two men's traditional views on women conflict with this more liberal approach to their behaviour that has come hand in hand with modernisation, and that they find this news shocking as they continue to speculate on Miss Das's love life. Sharma's contemptuous comment about Rahul as the source of this news is deeply ironic, as he criticises him and brands him as unreliable for doing something of which he is guilty himself. Rahul is a great gossip. He talks too much. One never knows how much truth there is in what he says. He does no work. Have you noticed? All he does is gossip. Note also how the two men, cigarettes in hand, are shocked by the idea of a woman smoking, as it seems to say something about her morality. Miss Das does not look the smoking kind. She appears to be a good girl. Also, it is clear that they regard a single woman being seen out in public with a man as just plain wrong. The fact that Miss Das may be acting inappropriately really seems to bother Sharma, to the extent that he chews his lips in consternation and vows to find out the truth. The men, at Sharma's instigation, remain in the canteen for a third round of tea, even though it is already 11:30, and Gupta is worried that he is going to be caught shirking. Sharma, however, has no intention of going to work. He shames Gupta for his conscientiousness in order to bully him into staying, arguing that no one will miss us. Lunchtime is at 12:30. We might as well stay here till lunch is over. Like the child in class who doesn't want to be seen as a swot, Gupta is easily swayed by the peer pressure exerted on him by Sharma. Sharma shows that he is contemptuous of everyone. Even my boss is after my life. They think that only they work. Just because they stay here after office hours, they expect people to believe that they work. Ha! All that is to impress the general manager. How else can they get their promotions? The ensuing power cut is grist to the mill, as Gupta gloomily tells him that his manager says, if a power cut lasts 3 hours, it doesn't mean that we don't work for 3 hours. He says that we are here to work. Sharma's response is full of contempt and not a little irony. Does he think we're animals? They all think that we have no feelings. Work all day, work when the electricity goes off, work without increments, work without promotions, work, work, work. That is all they care about. No concern for us as human beings. Gupta notices that Miss Das has seen them in the canteen. This is enough to send him scuttling back to his department. He is worried because he has already had a warning. Sharma, however, refuses to stress about it because even though there is a danger that they will be given a charge sheet, which could result in a dismissal, they now have a union, which he believes is effectively a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now you are panicking. Relax. Nothing can happen. Are these famous last words? Will Sharma's complacency finally lead to his comeuppance? Left alone with the newspaper, Sharma is surprised by Harish, the peon or office boy from the purchase department, who has been sent to tell him that the department manager, Mr Borwankar, is looking for him and that he is in a bad temper. Once again, Sharma shows that he is unwilling to do what he is told, as he looks at Harish unsmilingly and orders him to go back with the message that it is lunchtime. Tell him I will come after lunch. Surely, the reader is thinking, Sharma has pushed it too far, and this defiance and insolence can only lead to him being unceremoniously fired. Harish, frustrated at Sharma's behaviour, smacked his forehead in despair. Sharma is only momentarily left alone because Gupta soon pops back up, gleefully informing him that it is now lunchtime. Notice how what he says now about his wife and daughter's whereabouts directly conflicts with what he has told Miss Das. Is he telling the truth now, or is this yet another lie to this time exploit his friends for his own personal gain? Whatever the answer, Sharma's sob story that he has no lunch because his wife and daughters have left to visit her mother not only gets Gupta to share his lunch with him, but also to undertake to provide lunch for him for the duration of his wife's absence. Why didn't you tell me earlier, Sharmaji? Exclaimed Gupta. You mustn't keep such problems from old friends. From tomorrow till your wife comes home, I will ask my mother to pack extra lunch. It will be enough for both of us. Unfortunately, Sharma has shown himself to be such a glib liar that the reader is unable to give him the benefit of the doubt. After their large lunch, the pair are overtaken by drowsiness compounded by the heat. Note how Sharma is a master of procrastination. At Gupta's insistence that they get back to work because it is already half an hour past lunchtime, he finds a reason to put it off just a little longer. Suddenly Sharma stopped. "Pan," he said, "I must have a pan. Let us go to the pan shop." Unsurprisingly, this does little to reinvigorate Sharma, as when they arrive back at the building, only to discover that the electricity has still not returned, Sharma exclaims somewhat melodramatically, "I will die. I cannot climb 4 floors after a meal like that." When Sharma eventually gets as far as the 3rd floor, he is caught by his boss, Mr Borwankar, who demands that he accompany him to his office. Note that he is the only character not to address Sharma with the honorific G attached to his name, showing that he at least does not feel any level of respect for him. And the reader has the suspicion that this particular confrontation may not go Sharma's way. Unable to physically wriggle out of this one, he engages in a range of verbal gymnastics in an attempt to get Mr Borwankar on the back foot. In response to the charge that it is 45 minutes past lunchtime, he gives a litany of excuses. "I went to the Darbar to eat, sir. There was a long queue there, so I was delayed, sir," and so on. Note how he suffixes nearly every sentence with the respectful form of address, sir. Knowing what we do about Sharma's opinions of managers, we know that he is covering up his subversive attitude with a veneer of obsequiousness. The excuses, however, are not sufficient to get Mr Borwankar off his back, as he continues to press him to account specifically for his whereabouts all morning. When Sharma is backed into a corner, facing questions he cannot answer, he uses attack as the best means of defence. Remember how he was with Mahesh at the beginning. And he not only challenges Mr Borwankar's manner, but also his well-founded implication that Sharma's work ethic and professionalism leave a lot to be desired. He treats him to a diatribe featuring a lot of rhetorical questions that effectively put words in Mr Borwankar's mouth and reverses the situation so that it is Mr Borwankar's own work ethic which is questionable rather than Sharma's. Note how Sharma characterises himself as a martyr to the cause here. "All right, I was not in my department, but that was because I had work in other departments. Still, if it is your wish, I will not go to other departments, even if I have work there. I will sit at my desk and work only at my desk. Yes, I will do that. The company does not want me to consult other departments. All right, I will not consult other departments. You will see, work will suffer, but why should I care when you do not?" Sharma shows that he is resentful of others coming in and taking positions that are higher than his, even though he has been there longer. "I have been in this company for 25 years, but no one cares. For 25 years the company has bled me, sucked me dry. What do you know? You have been here only 2 years. You know nothing. 25 years ago I joined as a clerk. Today I am still a clerk. Why should I work?" From this speech we can see that he believes that time served should be the only measure of entitlement to promotion rather than performance, and this is obviously something that rankles deep within him. His outburst had touched something raw in him. Overwhelmed and defiant, he glared at Mr Borwankar. Mr Borwankar shows that he is not as easily fooled or intimidated as people such as Mahesh and Gupta, and he calls Sharma out directly, accusing him quite rightly of evading all his questions. Sharma finally appears to have met his match in his manager, as the situation has now been escalated. Miss Das arrives and Mr Borwankar presents him with a charge sheet accusing him of being absent from his workplace all morning and of coming late to work on specified days. If he did not answer in 24 hours, it would be presumed that he had accepted the charges. Sharma is incandescent with rage that after 25 years it should come to this. Has he finally pushed things too far? The ever-resourceful Sharma has, however, one trick still up his sleeve. He stalks out of the room with a parting shot that he will do nothing without consulting the General Secretary of the Workers' Union. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on English language topics and exam techniques and English literature texts.